Okay, now I'm going to do a manicure on my daughter's hands. She is 4 years old. So the first thing we did is we washed our hands, and we actually even soaked the hands a little bit because we're going to need to push the cuticles back. And typically cuticles on children kind of come up pretty far on the nail. Let's see if I can move this closer. Here in her nail, her cuticles are coming up pretty far, so soaking them will allow us to push them back easier. So I'm going to take an orange stick, and I'm just going to work gently. Sometimes I find it's good to do one hand and then stop and come back later and do another hand if they find it's a little bit uncomfortable to do them. So I'm just gently pushing back the cuticle. Sometimes I think people want to skip this step with children because their children find it a little uncomfortable to have this pushed back. If this type of cuticle pusher is uncomfortable, you know, you can go to one with a rubber tip, and that might feel a little softer to some children. But you're definitely wanting to push it back before you put their jams on. If you don't push it back or your children are just really uncomfortable with that, simply make sure you only apply their jams to their fingernails. That means it might be a little bit shorter than what their nails are. And that's okay too. Don't just stick a jam over the top of their cuticles. If you do that, it's going to come off. I'm not pushing them back quite as far as I would push them back on my own fingernails. With my own, I would be a little more aggressive and push them back even more, but, you know, little fingers, we don't want anyone crying or upset over getting their nails done. I don't think they like it that much, so just gentle approach. Alright, there we go. Is that good?
Yeah.
Alright. Now that our cuticles are pushed back, we want to take either an alcohol swab, or you can take a bottle of alcohol. I have like just a normal large bottle. You can also use anything from your kitchen like vinegar. Distilled vinegar, or even apple cider vinegar would work. Or you can use 100% acetone to remove the oils. So what this is just going to come back and do, it's just going to wipe away all the oils on their nails. And I find kids typically have pretty oily fingernail beds. So this extra step is really going to help. Make sure we get a good seal with our jams. So now that we've done that, we're ready to pick out the jam that's going to fit. So this is a sheet of Juniors. Juniors come in 2 coordinating prints. You have the 2 outer ones, they're all the same, and then a coordinating print down the middle. There's lots of smaller sizes for little fingers. Typically up to about age 8 is a good guideline for these, but it really depends on your fingernail size. So let's see. Which hand are we going to start with? Should we start with your thumb?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to hold it up and I'm going to see which one fits her thumb the best. This one's a little skinny, so I think this one. And you definitely want to go a little bit smaller. You want to make sure it's only going to fit on the fingernail. This one here, it's looks like it just might be a tiny bit too wide, so I am going to go down to this one that's a little bit smaller. Because if it's touching the finger, it is going to come off easily. So we want to make sure we're only on the fingernail. And what I like to do is I like to use tweezers to pull it up so I'm not getting oils on my jams. And then I'm going to cut it. You can either cut this one in half or to the length of her nail. I noticed her nail is only about this long, so that's how long I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to pick it up with the tweezers. Alright, fingernail please. I'm going to go push it on all the way back to the cuticle, but not on top of the cuticle. Let's see. And then I'm going to use this cuticle pusher to push it down. Let me check this side. Can you turn your hand, honey? Alright, I'm making sure that it's only on the fingernail. So this one was a little bit skinny for her nail. On the edge here, you might be able to see there's a little bit of nail peeking through. Usually when I do my nails, I like to leave a tiny bit peeking, but here's kind of a bigger gap. I might have been able to use that bigger wrap, and if it was too big, I could have just trimmed a little tiny bit off the side, but. Okay, so one challenge little kids have is typically their nails are very short. So whenever you're cutting it right close to the nail, you're kind of working close to their finger. So I just take my scissors and I cut right along where their fingernail is. And now it is time to add heat. My favorite tip for working with children is to use a heating pad like this one. This is a cotton heating pad with a little bit of rice in it that I've heated up. You can heat them in the microwave. I also have a little crock pot here that I keep them in to keep them warm between each session. But I love these because I can add a lot of heat just to her finger. And she already knows I also like the baggy trick. The baggy trick helps you get it nice and tight around their fingernail. You take a piece of baggy or a piece of plastic, this is saran wrap, folded over a couple times, and then you just wrap it around the nail and kind of pull down on it, down around the edge, and then you're going to add this heat just to the fingernail. And that's definitely the advantage of using the cotton reheatable rice packs, is I can put it just on her fingernail. Is that one getting hot? Okay. And she's going to let me know when it starts to feel hot. So now that it feels a little warm, I'm going to come back with my pusher and I'm going to push down. So I might add a little bit more heat. She'll let me know when it feels hot. Hot? You could just tell me hot. Yep, and then I push down and there we go. We have our first one on. I'm going to apply it to her nail. What I'm going to do, I'm going to push her cuticle back just a little bit since it's been a few minutes since we did all of her nails. That just gives me some more room. And I'm going to put this on here. There. So I'm pushing it down on the nail, making sure we're just on the fingernail. This one looks just right. It's going all the way to the edge. So it's a very good fit. I'm going to cut off the extra. Even when I'm being conservative and cutting them very short, I find I still end up cutting them much longer than I needed to. Children's nails are pretty tiny. These extra little bits I like to keep because even like a size like this probably work well on their toenails. So now I'm going to show you a quick example of what to do if you do not have a rice pack. The other option we can use, and I'm still going to use the baggie method. I'm going to go ahead and wrap her finger with a baggie. So what I can do is I can use a hair dryer, and I can apply heat with the hair dryer, which is a great option. I find that's a little loud, and sometimes kids really think a hair dryer is too loud. So my other favorite option is the Jamberry mini heater. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the little mini heater. You can tell it's nice and quiet. I can still talk over it while it's on. And I'm going to hold her finger in front of the heat. And here she's going to let me know when it starts to feel a little bit too warm. And I also have my finger here in the front. That's going to let me know and make sure I'm not accidentally burning her. Sometimes some kids have a high tolerance for heat.
It's getting hot.
It's getting warm? Let me know when it's too warm.
Too warm.
Too warm, okay? Now let's do that. We're going to add a little bit of pressure now that we've added some heat. And then we want to go ahead and do that one more time. Just because usually I find they want you to stop before you've added quite as much heat as you need. So we're going to hold on some heat again. Turn your hand.
Ow.
Oh, that was hot. I'm sorry. Here, I'm keeping you from burning.
Warmer.
Warmer? Too hot? Yep, too hot. Alright. So there we go. Added our heat. We're going to smush down a little bit. And here there's little bits hanging off the edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim those back. You can also file them, but usually kids' nails like this are so short I can't really get a file in there. So instead I just trim them nice and close.
Just tiny.
Okay, Charlotte, are you ready to do a sparkle wrap? Can I see the one you have? So you wanted to add one of the glitter ones, right? Alright, I think this, let me see your pinky. Let me see this one. Alright, the smallest one looks like it might fit your pinky. I'm going to pull it off. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and turn our heat on because I'm going to need a little bit more heat for glitter wraps. So, go ahead and lift this up. Cut it nice and short. Just a tiny little bit. You're so excited. Alright, so for our glitter wraps, what we need to do is we need to add a little bit of heat before we apply them. One idea you can do if you're using the rice pack that I like, when I'm using the rice pack, I'll sometimes just hold this on the design. But since I have my heater here, I'm going to use that. I'm going to hold it in front of the heat just until it curls slightly. There we go. You can kind of see there's getting a little bit of curl. Alright. Go ahead and turn that one off because we'll switch back to the rice pack now. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on her nail. So this is the smallest I had, but I can tell already it's way too wide for her fingernail. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take little slivers off the side. Just a little sliver off that side. And a little bit goes a long way. You want to be careful you don't cut a whole lot off. So let me see. Pushing her cuticle back just a little bit too, because we want these pretty ones to stay on, don't we, Charlotte? There we go. Looks like it's pretty good. I actually did end up cutting it just a little too much on the sides, so like I say, a little bit goes a very long way when you're trimming the edges. But it still works just fine. Nobody will notice that it's a little crooked. Will they, Charlotte?
Yep.
No. We're the only ones who will know. Alright, other finger, we gotta do the heat in the plastic baggie. So with these, we're definitely wanting to add plenty of heat to them. So, again, I love this method because it's so nice and small.
One, two, three.
Alrighty.
Yeah, very hot.
It was getting really warm. Yeah, you don't have to be super brave. We just want it to be warm enough. Wow, look at that glittery sparkle. Is that the cutest thing ever on a pinky?
It's
Do it
not
one more time.
sparkly as yours.
It's not as sparkly as mine, it's the same one.
I don't know if it's the as three.
Alright, there we go. So, what we can do, generally, with children's nails, they're a little bit too short to file, but we can check and see if we can file any edges off. Her nail is really too short for me to file up and down, so I'm just going to run my finger along the nail and I'm going to feel if there's any bits sticking out, and I'm not feeling any. I think the baggy method really helps pull any edges down over the nail. So these look like they are good to go, but you definitely want to check because if they're hanging off the ends of their nails, they're going to get caught in the dirt and their toys and all the stuff they're doing. So taking the time to get them on well means they'll last longer. Alright, there we go. And since Charlotte is 4, we're going to take a break now. I'm not going to actually do both hands at the same time because I noticed that her ability to sit here and to sit patiently is definitely kind of running out a little bit. So she's going to go play for a little bit and we will do her other hand later.